Hi everyone, Melody here, and thank you for joining me for today's class on exposure. So this is a foundational class. This is one of those things that we think we know everything that we need to know, and there is such a wealth of knowledge that whether you're a brand new baby beginner photographer or you're a more experienced photographer, this class will have content for you. You can deepen your knowledge or you can set an incredible foundation right from the start. So let's get started. First, what is exposure? Essentially, exposure is the density of your image, how light or how dark it is. When you're using your camera, light is reflecting off of the surface into the sensor or the film of your camera, and you are choosing how you are recording that information by setting the exposure. Now, we do that in a couple of ways, and we're going to talk about how you influence exposure, but the long and the short of it is that you are going to manipulate the exposure triangle, which is aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, or you're going to manipulate the light, the source of the light, your location, in reference to the light, etc. We're not going to talk as much in this course about manipulating the light because lighting is its own series of classes in itself. You're going to learn how to be intentional about the decisions you're making and the settings you're using in your camera to determine what the correct exposure is for you. So I could tell you, oh, I shoot at this aperture, or I like to keep my ISO here, but it is so dependent on the subject I'm shooting, how many people might be there, the light that is available, and even the lens or the camera body that I'm using, that I can't really necessarily relate my settings to you and your scenario and your subject. So in this class, you're going to learn how to make those decisions yourself. You'll be a better photographer for it. You can shoot more intentionally, and you're going to have a really in-depth knowledge of how to use your camera and what your camera is actually telling you in any given scenario. This is even more important because you might not always be shooting on your mirrorless or DSLR big camera. There may be times that you want to pick up your phone and use that phone in an odd lighting or density scenario, and you'll actually be able to apply the knowledge that you've learned here to creating an incredible portrait even on your iPhone. So you can take this knowledge everywhere you go with you. Let's dive in.